ARK Invest just posted a near 2-hour recap with their key takeaways from the Big Ideas 2026 report. Funnily enough, the vast majority of these 2 hours have something, if not everything, to do with Tesla. Here's Tasha Keeney talking autonomous vehicles.
I direct investment analysis for ARK and research for the autonomous technology and robotics team. And today I'm going to be talking about autonomous vehicles. So robotaxis are available to the public today in select cities in the US, in China, and in the Middle East. We used to be asked, will this technology be possible? Now that's very clear. There are cars roaming around without anyone in the front seat or the passenger seat that are able to pick up passengers fully autonomously. What's interesting and what's developed in the past year is that we're seeing that within its operation zone, Waymo is actually competing with Uber and Lyft, and more specifically Lyft here, as you can see, in terms of market share. So even though they have a relatively small fleet, it's clear that they're offering a service that is competitive with today's human-driven ride-hail options. But I mentioned the fleet is small. To really proliferate, we think that data advantages are still key. There are two graphs here, which my colleague Daniel McGuire made. So daily robotaxi miles. This is looking at what's actually commercial in terms of robotaxi service. So you can see here, Waymo in the US and Baidu through its Apollo Go program in China are leading with commercial driverless miles. But when you zoom out to look at total data captured, which is the graph all the way on the right, this is cumulative autonomous miles. You can see here that Tesla globally really surpasses any other competitor. This is because they collect video off of their customer vehicles. All of the cars are equipped with sensor sets that are capable of sensor sets and an onboard compute system that's capable of turning the car into a fully autonomous car through software updates. So because of that, Tesla has this immense data advantage that really no one else has.
Early into her comments, Tasha points out how important data is. We then see the daily robotaxi miles, Waymo just in the lead, followed by Baidu with Apollo Go. But as we see, when we zoom out and look at cumulative autonomous miles, this is essentially data being collected. Tesla is the only game in town. Now, just to be clear, this graph here on the right features the same data for Waymo, Baidu, Apollo, Pony AI, right? All of these companies, it's the exact same data except Tesla. And what looks like a towering advantage in terms of daily robotaxi miles, e.g. data that they can technically collect, collapses and is now flatter than a pancake relative to the amount of data Tesla is collecting. For autonomy, profitable, wide-scale, general autonomy, if you do not have data, you do have a very big problem. In fact, this page is a self-contained IQ test. If you can't predict what the future of autonomy looks like a few years from now, based on this, you may be a money manager.
It's driven both by the fact that they've been doing this for a while, having cars roll off the assembly line with this capability, plus the fact that they have a large customer fleet driving this. So they have millions of cars versus thousands at competitors. So we think that data advantage is really key to scaling this service and to advancing the technology in the future. And why are we talking about robotaxis at all? Well, the most important piece of research to remember here, and we've been saying this for years, is that autonomous vehicles will be cheaper than human-driven vehicles. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the graph on the right here, you can see the average price of human-driven ride-hail in Western markets is a little less than $3 now with inflation. And then the cost of driving a personal car is a little less than $1. A robotaxi could price profitably to the consumer at just 25 cents. That is at scale. So of course there are many price points in between that $2.80, actually even higher than $2.80 at more of a premium price segment, say. But in between the $2.80 and 25 cents, there's actually a lot of support for higher price points. Really, we think that autonomous driving is compelling because it will lower the cost of transportation. It'll be cheaper than you driving your personal car, and it'll be much cheaper than ride-hail. But at scale, it could be as cheap as 25 cents. And in the early days, what's really critical here is I mentioned scale previously. Well, scale in Tesla's case, in terms of manufacturing scale, also matters quite a bit. You can see that here in the graph on the left. So if you're comparing Waymo and Tesla, Waymo purchases vehicles from automotive partners. They then add on, they integrate with partners a sensor set onto that vehicle. So if you look at the price of the car plus the sensor set, which of course adds to like the incremental depreciation cost for the car because it is a more expensive car than what's rolling off the Tesla assembly line. We actually think that, today, with the cars that are driving on the road, the previous generation of Waymo and the Model Ys, which Tesla has started to use in its Robotaxi fleet, Tesla already has a 35% cost advantage, but at scale, we think this could be up to a 50% incremental cost advantage per mile.
And just as the previous slide was a self-contained IQ test, so too is this slide. If you can't figure out how this one ends, if these assumptions are even close to accurate, you might be an anchor on a finance network. Recall yesterday, Elon Musk confirmed on X that Tesla will sell its first Cybercab to a commercial customer for $30,000 or less this year, 2026. Tesla's Cybercab is going to have a meaningfully lower cost to produce at scale than their Model Y, which itself is being sold to customers in the United States. Starting price, sub $40,000 profitably. Waymo, last we heard, is spending well over $100,000 to put a comparable vehicle on roads. Just to be extremely clear, these assumptions are not about the cost to put the vehicle on roads. The difference between that is far more dramatic. Like I said, Model Y, Tesla's producing these things, call it about $35,000. Cybercab, probably about $25,000. Costing Waymo at least 3 times as much, if not more, to put a vehicle on roads today versus Tesla's Model Y. This isn't about that. This is about the incremental cost per mile. Once the hardware is on the roads, what is it costing to deliver the service per mile? Forget how much it actually costs to put the vehicle on roads in the first place. This is just how much is it costing you per mile to offer the service to customers. The critical thing to understand about this is that transport as a service, the key word there is service, will be viewed by most consumers like their electricity service, their gas service, their internet service, their telco service. What do I mean? They care about, number one, is it comparable, equivalent, or identical to every other service offered by every other provider in the same marketplace? Yes. Well, then what do I care about? What does it cost? Cost is going to be the differentiating factor. Assuming Waymo and Tesla have equally safe and capable software operating in the same cities with equivalent wait times, 2-3 minutes at most, in a large metro area, the only meaningful point of difference that's going to matter to most consumers is cost. Imagine an internet provider turned up out of nowhere and was offering a comparable, identical service to everyone else in the marketplace for 20, 30, 40% lower cost. We see ARC's long-term estimates, Cybercab with a 50% cost advantage, and that's, again, for incremental miles, not initial hardware where the cost disparity is even greater. So imagine this. Internet provider number 1, exact same service, cost twice as much as provider number 2. So the question to the consumer, are you retarded? No. So which provider are you going to go with? The one that costs half the price for the exact same service, or the one that's twice as much for the exact same service? Again, this one slide is a self-contained IQ test. This only ends one way.
This matters a lot in the early commercialization days when utilization on the fleet is low. The underlying cost of the car matters significantly then. At scale, we expect the utilization rate on the car, so how often the car is actually driving around and making revenue, to really be what drives down that cost per mile. But this goes to show that being a vertically integrated automaker really matters. And autonomous ride-hail could dominate urban transit. So there's a great blog that my colleague Daniel put out earlier this year, where he looked at, these are top ride-hail cities, and you can see here the peaks and troughs of when people need transportation during the day. The point that we're making in Big Ideas is, okay, if you look at all of urban miles today, ride-hail is actually just a very small percentage of those miles still. It's around 1%. Even though in some cities that might be up to 10, as a whole in the US, it's around 1%. And autonomous taxis, fewer autonomous taxis could replace many vehicles on the road today. So actually, just to supplant what's currently happening in human-driven ride hail, you'd only need 140,000 robotaxis because they will have higher utilization rates than the ride hail vehicles that are on the road today.
Just want to make sure that everybody heard, understood, and has fully digested that. ARC's estimates are that to replace 100% of ride hail miles in the United States, Ubers, taxis, Lyft, all of those, the whole United States, think about it, every single trip to and from an airport, a meeting, from a bar and home, a party, every single ride hail mile could be replaced by a fleet of just 140,000 robotaxis. Here's a slide from Tesla's latest quarterly earnings report. We're looking at production capacity for different vehicle lines at each of their factories globally. In the United States alone, just the California factory in Fremont, combined 3 and Y capacity is greater than 550,000 units per year. Add Model Y capacity at Texas, greater than 250,000 units per year. Combined, that's more than 800,000 units per year of production capacity in the United States alone for Tesla's Model 3 and Model Y. Just to illustrate the enormous implications of Tesla's current scale, if they were to redirect 100% of the production of their 3s and Ys from Austin and California for about 2 months and deploy those all as robotaxis, they would have 140,000 robotaxis on roads in the US by redirecting just 2 months of production of just the 3 and Y, just from the Fremont and Austin, Texas factories. And remember, Tesla's Cybercab, the first of which just rolled off a production line in Texas, goes into volume production starting in April this year. Unlike the 3 and Y, which are currently being sold to customers and technically can operate as a dedicated robotaxi, the Cybercab is designed from the ground up specifically and only, Farzad, to operate as a dedicated robotaxi. Tesla will systematically and strategically pick a city, a metro area with a large population, saturate the city with a few hours, days, or at most weeks of Cybercab production, own the city, and then move on to the next. And as ARC points out, far fewer full-time robotaxis are needed than most people expect to completely dominate not just a few cities, but the entire US ride-hail market. Once again, this only ends one way.
To put that in perspective, that's like maybe a month of production for Tesla. You can see here on the graph that Tesla actually with, its current vehicle lineup, and of course, if you look at the top line, the Cybercab expected capacity, they already could satisfy ride-hail demand in many of the top ride-hail cities in the US today. And for the US as a whole, 24 million robotaxis, which is actually less than 10% of the registered vehicle fleet in the US, could supplant actually all of urban miles, again, thanks to that higher utilization rate. And robotaxis could generate around $34 trillion of enterprise value in 2030. We've said this in the past. I'll repeat it again here, that we think that the majority of the economics will accrue to the autonomous technology providers, the platform providers. These are the companies that have built the technology stack that allows the car to drive itself, because that is what lowers the cost per mile here and what will, we think, ultimately drive demand. The biggest risk to this forecast, I will point out, is that outside of Tesla, many of the traditional automakers and automaker partners to the technology players like Waymo have not made very large-scale promises in terms of the fleet of robotaxis that they plan to have on the road in the next 5 years. So we're taking a bit of a leap of faith here. We have many players in China, for instance, where things can happen at lightning speed, really overnight in terms of manufacturing scale, looking to build out robotaxi platforms. So we do expect more competitors to emerge, but I'm noting that that's actually the biggest risk to the forecast today. And then lastly, we lay out here the different parts of the ecosystem that on the previous slide we outlined some of the value that it will accrue to each of those pieces. Again, the piece of the puzzle that you want to be in to get the majority of the economics is the autonomous technology platform piece. We also think that fully electric automakers have a space here. We, roughly a little less than 10% of the revenue, around 1% of the enterprise value. That's really just because, again, the enterprise value that we see on the platform side is so much larger. And then fleet operators or lead generators. These are companies like the ride-hail partners that some of the technology providers have chosen. Also, the companies that will maintain the vehicles. These may not be the companies that we know today. By the way, it could be startups that emerge in the space. But this is another important part of the puzzle that you need to launch a robotaxi service. Of course, some players might fall into all three buckets. You can see us delineating that on the slide here. But again, the bucket that will accrue the most value is the technology platform.
Some interesting insights from ARK Invest here on autonomy. And as somebody with a verified IQ of 69 and a proud member of Densa, it's not clear to me if there's any company currently in this space pursuing autonomy at scale that has a clear advantage or multiple clear advantages. I can't see any specific company that has a technological advantage, a data advantage, a scale advantage, a cost advantage. I also can't tell the difference between Tesla's approach to autonomy, which is vision only and generalized, versus the rest of the marketplace, which is a clusterfuck of sensors, implying a skill issue. So I have absolutely no idea how this will play out. It is not obvious to me that one particular company will run away with autonomy, take the lion's share of the profits, scale widely, broadly, and rapidly, leaving others in the dust. It's not clear to me that one of these companies will have such a cost advantage that no one will be able to match them on cost per mile and remain solvent. So I guess my only choice is to sit back, wait, wonder, and watch this play out over the coming years, the tail end of this decade, and into the 2030s, because it's far too hard to see who's going to absolutely dominate this multi-trillion dollar opportunity. I'm so excited to see how this all plays out. The suspense is killing me. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.